edition of Not For Resale. So today's topic is going to be about Reiss versus Zara, and we're going to throw in a wildcard brand in there as well. It all makes sense as we go along. So let's talk about the two brands in a bit more detail. So let's talk about Zara. Zara is it's a high street brand, and it follows the big brands in terms of seasons. So it follows, let's say, Balenciaga, maybe Burberry, these sort of brands. What they bring out in the season, Zara will mimic it and create cheaper versions of it in their store. So that's their kind of whole philosophy. Now, the point being with that is, if you're a person who follows brands, follows fashions, religiously, Zara is a good brand for you, because you're always going to be in step with what's going on in that moment in time. But the bad point about Zara is the quality. The quality of Zara is it's moderate to poor, and maybe some examples of it good. That's solely on the quality of the garment. And sometimes it could be even the cut, but generally they do get the cut on point. The fitting of the clothing is generally good. Hit or miss with some key items. I find maybe their jackets they're on point with, their shirts on point, their trousers is a bit hit and miss with that. So that's Zara in a kind of nutshell. Let's look at Reiss. Reiss, on the other hand, it follows a different kind of philosophy. Reiss is not following current trends, maybe passively, but not totally. And their main concept really is following, contemporary styling, period styling from maybe 1970s to the 1990s. And they'll put their modern spin on it. So that's Reiss philosophy. Now, if you're looking for current trends, Reiss is not really that type of brand. But what they do have over Zara is the quality. The quality of the clothing at that price point is it's exceptional. Sometimes it's even better than the major brands, just solely on the quality of the material of the clothing. However, the bad point with Reiss would be is sometimes the cuts, the fit of the clothing is strange, to say the least. At times you'll be thinking who did they make this for? Some small guy with long arms, or weird stuff like that, or some tall guy with short arms. How did they come up with that kind of finishing on that clothing? It makes no sense. And that's the problem that I find with Reiss. And unless you're willing to kind of do your own kind of skate around the edges on that, find your own answers on that, it can be tricky at times. For example, I'll give you an example of it. Between 84 kg and 80, I've always been that way, and I'm 6'1", so I'm slender, athletic built person. I used to do modeling. My body frame is of a model, maybe slightly out of shape model, but it's clear it's that sort of body shape. And I find it extremely hard at times to find clothes in Reiss. I would have to either, for example, I usually quite comfortable in a large, but I would have to take a medium, and then sometimes with the medium maybe the arm length is not correct. Sometimes it is. Or I might have to take a large, and then I would have to taper it in because it's too loose. It's losing the message of the clothing. It's not fitting how I want it to fit. So they're the kind of steps I would have to take sometimes with Reiss. Sometimes I get lucky and it actually fits the way it's supposed to fit. But, just be prepared. That is something that happens with Reiss clothing. And comparing the two, I don't know. Maybe it depends on who you are, what type of styling you go for, and maybe even certain stage aging as well. Both brands can be applicable to anyone from 18 up to mid to late 50s. Like, if you know how to dress and pick out the right pieces, both brands can be relevant for people, men and women, across those age lines, without question. But the problem is, which one would you go for? Like, I would go for Reiss. I might have just hinted on that just moments ago, but I just find it much more easier to piece things together with Reiss. Like, my main kind of objective when I use Reiss is like to civilize street clothes. Like, sometimes I like to wear street clothing, like maybe fitted tracksuit bottoms or something like that, and I'll just kind of like make it a bit more sophisticated with like a Reiss overshirt with a t-shirt, you know, that sort of look. And it can drop, like, it can look like you will draw attention with that, no question. Sometimes, like, a lot of the times, more than someone who is like totally dripped. Like, people who are dripped, don't get me wrong, women love that stuff, you know, guys head to toe Louis or head to toe Burberry. Like, sometimes it just conveys that message, like, you know, like, I'm here. But I tend to find some people who are dripped, you know, they're not being true to themselves. Like, they can't afford that drip on a constant basis. So you'll tend to see maybe the clothing is looking a bit, I don't know, worn out, or, you know, there's telltale signs, like, you know, they've got not the most amazing car. Like, maybe their clothing is costing more than their actual car. That doesn't make any sense. So, but, you know, my style really is to be, you know, make it simple, but the message is there. You know what I mean? Like, if you pay attention, like, you'll see like where the quality is, you know. And sometimes it's nice to unveil that to someone, you know, like maybe you're with your partner and she's like unveiling you and she's like, oh, are you wearing this, or are you wearing that? I didn't know. And like, it's just like a subliminal nice like compliment. So yeah, and the other thing I like about both of these brands is that anonymity. You know, people don't know exactly what it is unless you tell them, or they, you know, they know, you know, they know what the current trends are for those high street brands. But if they had no idea, more say to the point with Reiss, because the quality is a bit better, they wouldn't exactly know where that brand is, like what you're wearing is from it. They would just say it looks good, and they'll ask you the question, where is it from? And that's, you know, I find that being a bit more, you know, appealing in terms of like the type of appearance that I look to achieve. But the wild card with all of this would be Massimo Dutti. So Massimo Dutti is under the Inditex umbrella, and that's on, you know, within that umbrella is Zara as well. So you have Zara and Massimo Dutti. There's a few other brands in there as well. But Massimo Dutti is like, you know, best way to kind of explain it, it kind of follows the Reiss path, but the Spanish variation of it, because Reiss is British, Massimo Dutti is Spanish, so it's contemporary fashion, like period fashion, but it kind of touches at times on Zara, you know, where it follows current catwalk trends, just slightly, like barely, but it still does. And the main point with Massimo Dutti is that the clothing and the finishing is better than Zara. So like, you have better quality clothing in Massimo Dutti. So that's a point of contention there. You know, do I spend a bit more money in Zara and get a nice, you know, a better finishing look, or do I spend even a bit more and get a even better, possibly better finishing look? Because there's no guarantee, because sometimes Zara, their fitting is better than, well, a lot, you know, maybe say 70% of the case, their fittings are better than actually how Reiss do it. But what puts Reiss over the edge is the actual quality of the garment itself, and the idea behind the garment. Is much more easier to piece things together. They generally deal with block colors, that's much more easier to piece other kind of brands in there that you might have in your wardrobe, and it's just much more friendlier kind of brand. But however, all of those brands, Massimo Dutti, Reiss, Zara, I wouldn't even dream of buying any shoes from there or bags like that. That's not my thing. I think for those type of key pieces, you need to spend money, and you'd have to look at the actual big brands for that, like Louis or Gucci. I haven't got any Louis, but I do have a lot of Gucci and Off-White, those sort of brands, you know, to complement them, like in a small kind of like satchels, or you know, little man bags, or like clutch bags, or whatever. Like I compliment with those sort of bags. It has to be on point brands. I think it just conveys a message. But that's just my opinion on things. Let me know what you think in the comment section there. You know, I've been a bit all over the place, but I'm just starting this new channel, so as I find my footing, things will become a bit more clear and concise. But I just wanted to make that a point of contention, just like analyze those 3 brands and give you my points of view on all of those 3 brands. So I hope that's been helpful. Thanks so much.